Hello, Tibeokutos family. You're welcome back to my channel. Thank you for your likes, for your subscriptions, and for your comment time. In case you're seeing the video or the channel for the very first time, join the family because you are missing out. You need to join the family quickly by hitting on the subscription button. Now, thank you so much. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing us how to make a princess dart with an underbust tightening in a very simple, straightforward way that you are going to love and enjoy. So guys, let us get into the video. I have here all the tools I'll be needing for this video. I have my fabric, the plain and the mixed one. I'll be using the plain one for the upper side and the mixed one for the lower part. Next thing, I have my basic bodice blog. If you've not watched my video on how to draft the basic bodice blog or the basic sleeve pattern, it's very essential for you to watch. I will put the link of the video in the description box so you can watch this video. In all my videos, that is what I'm going to be using. That was why I first made the basic sleeve and basic bodice blog video, so please, you can watch that before any of my other videos. So I have my basic bodies traced from the shoulder to the waistline because that is what I'm going to be using, the shoulder to the waistline. I have my front and my back bodies blog right here on the screen, on the table also. The first thing I'll be going in to do is to get my under bust length, which I went ahead to measure my under bust. I measured it from the tip of my neck or my neck point and went down straight. Your under bust is between your waistline and your bust line. That is where you get your under bust from. After getting my under bust, the next thing I'll do is to tighten my underbust because I said I want to do a princess dart with an underbust tightening. This year I'm going to be calculating what my underbust tightening is going to be. I'm not just going to be using 1 inch or 2 inches like I see in some videos. I calculate it so that I can get the accurate underbust tightening. So what I'm going to be doing is to note down my underbust circumference, which is 83 centimeters, and in inches it is 32.7 inches. I'm doing it both ways so we can understand. After getting this, what I would need to do is to divide by 4 because I have my half scale front, not my full scale front. If I go ahead to divide 83 centimeters by 4, I'm going to be getting 20.75, and by 32.7 I will be getting 8.2 inches. After getting 1/4 of my underbust, the next thing I will do is to measure from my side front to my center front at the underbust to get what I have at that angle. I'm going to measure once again from my side front to my center front, and whatever I have, I will note it down on my paper, which I have 25.5 centimeters. It is 10 in inches. What I'm going to do is to deduct 1/4 of my underbust from what I just got from my pattern paper. Let me explain again. What I will be doing is to deduct 20.75 from 25.5 or 8.2 from 10 inches. Whatever answer I got there is what I'm going to be using to tighten my underbust. I'm not just doing this for YouTube's sake or for my video sake. This is what I've been doing continuously and it has been working for me. The next thing I'll be doing is to distribute what I have to my side front and my center front. And I'll be taking the bigger part of the number to the side front and the smaller part to the center front. For instance, I have 4.8 centimeters, 1.8 inches. I'll be taking 3 of that 4.8 to my side front where my arrow is currently, and the smaller part to my center front. Just to re-emphasize what I said, take this bigger part, 3 centimeters or 1 inch to the side front, then 1.8 to 0.8 inches to the center front. I hope we get that. Then the next thing I'll do is to connect it to the dart leg at the waistline. I will connect both sides to the dart leg at the waistline. After this, I am done with my underbust tightening. I've taken the excesses at the underbust out. Then I will go ahead to mark my nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2 on my bust line. Whatever I have at the waist as my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 at the waist, that is what I'll be marking on the bust line. Then I'll come down by 2 centimeters from where I marked my nipple to nipple measurement. 2 centimeters is 0.75 in inches. Mark that, and thing I'll be working on is my armhole line, just like so. And at this point, I'll be coming down at the shoulder point by some centimeters and inches. Here I'm coming down by 9 centimeters, 3.5 inches. This is not a standard. You can come down by 8, by 6, and by 10, or you can just find the midpoint of your armhole and mark it just like so. But I want to come down by 9 centimeters, which is 3.5 inches. Then I'll take my straight ruler to connect straight to my bust point. I'll connect like so to my bust point. Once I'm done with that, I will need to take out the excesses I have at the armhole. I have excesses at the armhole presently, and so I'll be taking out 2.5 centimeters 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters 1 inch at both sides of the dart leg I have at the armhole. This is going to take out my excesses so that I won't have any gaping when the dress is worn. So after taking out the excesses I have at the armhole, I will be short at the lower part of the armhole because I took 2 inches 5 centimeters out. I'm going to be short and I need to impute it back. At the lower part of the armhole, I will be going up by 2 inches 5 centimeters. At the lower part of the armhole, I will go up in a slanted manner with my ruler, then use my armhole curve to connect back to my armhole point. And once this is done, I'm going to be shading out or marking out the dots that I am eliminating at those side for me to know I'm going to cut it off. Once I'm done with that, the next thing to do is to take my armhole curve and connect from my bust point, not from the 2 centimeters I marked there. That is just a guide to know where my exact bust point is a guide to know where my exact bust point is. So I'm going to connect in a curvy way, not in a sharp way, to the on the bust like so with my curve ruler, and also going to connect at the other side in that way to the waist point. So after connecting, we are done with our princess darts and our bust tightening. That is all there is to do about princess darts and bust tightening. Just to be sure of the length that I have at both sides, I'll just go in with my tape measurement to measure what I have at both sides of the princess. And I have exact measurements. So I'm going to go in with my marker to reshape the underbust tightening so that it does not have a sharp edge curving. So I have my bust dart ready. I forgot to show us how to do the back princess dart. So I'm just going to be telling us how to go about it. The first thing is to mark exactly what you marked at the armhole at the front. Then you note it and you connect it in a slanted form or in a slanted way to your waist that's at the back. And the next thing is just to reshaping your dart to match with the princess line. That is all there is to do for the back body's princess. What I'm doing next is to shaping my neckline because I don't want it to be too tight for the wearer. So I'm just going to go in by 1.5 centimeters. This is like 0.5 inches or more, just a little bit more inches for the front. And for the back, I will come down at the neckline or at the neck depth by 3 centimeters. This is like 1.2 inches. And what I went in at the neck points along the shoulder line is what I'm going to be doing as the back neck point along the shoulder line. So what I'll do next is to connect with my covula together. This is all that I'm going to do, and I think I'm done with the pattern drafting of the princess that. So I'm just going ahead to label my side front, side back, center back. I interchange the side back for the center back at the back piece. So I'm just noting what I have for my princess line right there at that angle because that is where the frill will be passing through. So I went ahead to label and to note down the number of pieces I'm going to be cutting when I'm cutting on the fabric, and also to use my pen to add the same allowances that I'm going to be adding when I'm cutting it on the fabric. So I've gone ahead to cut it, and this is the way it is now. You can see we have our princess that just trying to show us how it's going to be once it is sewn together to make it a whole piece. This is what I have on the table. So in order to show us the fittings on the body, I'll be showing us a little bit of the sewing process. The first thing I'll be doing is to cut it out on the fabric. I'll be folding the fabric into two to cut out a full piece of the front and two piece of the back. But I will be using the same fabric for lining also. So I'm cutting almost two different sets of the front and that of the back because I'll be using the same fabric to do the lining. So this is what I have after cutting. I have four pieces of the side front, two pieces of the center front, and four pieces of the back piece. This is what I have right now. The next thing I want to do now is to show us how the sewing process of this top is going to be. I'm unpinning them from the pattern piece so that I can pull them together with my pin to make it one in order for me to take it to my sewing machine to sew. What I'm going to be doing now is to place the side piece of the front to the center piece of the front carefully. I will align them together and start pinning them like so. We'll do the same thing for the second side and also for the lining. Once I'm done, I'll take it to my sewing machine to sew the princess seam allowance. So I'm done sewing the princess seam allowance, and this is how it's looking after the sewing process of the front piece. The next thing I'll do is to sew my back piece, but before sewing my back piece, because I did not do princess dart for the back, I'm just going to take in my waist dart, taking all the waist darts for the back piece. I will also be sewing the shoulders together at the same time before coming back to show you. So I've gone ahead to sew all the darts and the shoulders together. This is what it's looking like. This is what I have. The next thing I want to do is the next thing I'm going to do now is to sew in my flounce. Because I was short of material, instead of cutting two whole flounce, I had to cut them into four so that I can join them and sew them at the shoulder line. I'm going to sew it in, then use my weaving machine to edge it round just like you are seeing in this picture. I've gone ahead sew it to make it just 2 pieces instead of 4 pieces that I have. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing is to sew around the neckline. I'm going to attach the main fabric and the lining together, shoulder to shoulder point, the neckline to neckline, so that my seam allowance for the shoulder of the lining fabric and the main fabric will be at the same point. After pinning, I will also go ahead to pin round my armhole together because I want to do inseam finishing. I will go ahead to pin round my both of the armholes together and sew the neckline and the armhole lines at once. I'm done sewing the neckline and the armhole line, and this is how it's looking. I'm just going to turn it over so we can see the main side of the top. This is the main side of the top, and this is how it's looking. I'm done with it. What I'm going to be using now is to use my gum stay to go around the neckline to hold it firmly and neatly together. I've gone ahead to iron it perfectly well to smoothen it out. The next thing I'm going to do is to attach my flounce to my princess lines, but before then I'm going to mark out where I'm going to be leaving out at the shoulder, where I'm not going to be attaching to the princess line at both front and the back outfit. That is what I'm marking now, and that was what I marked on my pattern paper earlier too. Afterwards, I will carefully pin down the flounce along the princess line seam at the front towards the waistline at the front, and do the same thing to the back towards the dart line at the back. Once I'm done with the pinning process, I'll take it to my sewing machine to sew, and this is what I have after sewing it. You can see at the shoulder line it's like an off shoulder flounce that I did right there. So this is the way it's looking presently before I go ahead to attach the lower part of the dress. I'm just trying to pin the lower part of the dress to the upper part first on the body form before I go in to sew them together to make it a whole piece. So I'm almost done with the dress. I'm just going in to pin it round so I can see it first. After this scene, what you'll be seeing next is the complete outfit of the dress on the owner. So here is the finished work of the dress, and I love the fact that I was able to finish this dress on time and there was no need for any correction on the dress. Immediately she wore it, it fitted her perfectly, just like so. You can see the under bust princess seam that it's sitting perfectly on her body, and it brought out the shape of her bust, her tummy, and everything. It just looking beautifully and perfect. And also the flounce, I love the way it's sitting. In case you've not watched my video on how to make this flounce, I'm going to link it in the description box below. And the lower part is a circular part, which I'm going to be showing you in my next video how to make a simple circular gown or skirt or dress. I love the fact that it's sitting well on a body. So we've come to the end of this video. Please subscribe and subscribe, like, leave your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read from you or suggest any piece you want me to make. Thank you so much, and so see you next time. Bye bye.